The news with Eris Stewart. Good morning, Eris.
Good morning, Sophie.
The headlines.
Mauritius tourism sector welcomes new €3 tax per night but calls for clearer implementation guidelines. Fernie Tropical Agri-Hood project launched in presence of Prime Minister, showcasing a vision for sustainable living in harmony with nature. Olivier Bancoult confident about Chagos sovereignty process following adoption of Diego Garcia bill. Faisal Dil Hussein submits new evidence to Financial Crimes Commission over alleged irregularities in Hajj 2025 organization. 5 years after the Wakasho disaster, Mauritius updates its national oil spill contingency plan to strengthen environmental preparedness. MSOR refutes claims of microchip shortage and reassures pet owners of smooth progress in national dog registration campaign. In world news, President Trump imposes sweeping sanctions on Russian oil giants Rosneft and Lukoil. And in sports news, Champions League, match day 3 sees Real Madrid edge Juventus, while Chelsea and Liverpool cruise. Since October 1st, a tourism tax of €3 per night has been implemented in Mauritius. It applies to all visitors over the age of 12 staying in registered accommodations. 3 weeks after its introduction, the tourism sector has generally welcomed the initiative, but raised concerns about unclear aspects of its implementation. Siddiq Bodi, director of Divine Island Destinations, considers the measure positive overall, but regrets the lack of preparation and proper guidance.
Since October 1st, a tourist tax of €3 per night has been applied in Mauritius. It concerns all visitors aged 12 and above staying in registered accommodations. 3 weeks after its introduction, the industry welcomes the initiative but points to grey areas in its implementation. Siddiq Bodi, director of Divine Island Destinations, says the measure is positive but regrets a lack of preparation and proper guidance. He notes that in other countries, tourists are used to paying such a tax, but in Mauritius, issues arise when clients don't have credit cards or pay in currencies other than the euro. According to him, there is a management problem and training or workshops by the Mauritius Revenue Authority are needed. We tried several times to get a response from the Tourism Authority regarding the implementation of this tax, but our requests have so far gone unanswered.
It should be noted that despite several attempts, we were unable to obtain a comment from the Tourism Authority regarding the implementation of this tax. And thanks to Anjali Siratan Puchan for her voiceover. The Fernie Tropical Agri-Hood project marks an important step in the sustainable development of the Fernie Agricultural Estate. Launched yesterday evening in the presence of Prime Minister Dr. Navin Ramgoolam, the project reflects the country's commitment to a responsible and integrated development model. Designed on about 6% of the estate's 3,000 hectares, the Tropical Agri-Hood rests on 3 pillars: a healthy and peaceful lifestyle, the integration of daily and professional activities with nature, and the inclusion and empowerment of residents. Respectful of the endemic forests of the Valley de Fernie, the project promotes a harmonious coexistence between agriculture, ecology, and well-being. Following the adoption of the Diego Garcia military base and British Indian Ocean Territory Bill, a piece of legislation giving legal effect to the Chagos Agreement signed last May between Mauritius and the United Kingdom, Olivier Bancoult, leader of the Chagos Refugees Group, says he remains confident about the next stage of the process in the House of Lords. The agreement paves the way for Mauritius to exercise its sovereignty over the Chagos archipelago, while allowing the United Kingdom to continue operating the Diego Garcia military base for an initial period of 99 years. Despite the postponement of planned trips to the Chagos, Olivier Bancoult remains convinced that the Chagosians will soon be able to set foot on their native land once again. Take a listen to this extract voiced over by Lovina Sophie.
We are following all the procedures currently underway to the letter, and there is a collaboration between the government and the Chagosian community. And if this visit is pushed for January, we have no objection to this. The most important is that the visit happens because we understand there are procedures we need to follow, even if it does not happen this month or even next. The Chagossian people are patient and know that the visit will happen.
Meanwhile, Olivier Bancourt also commented on reports published in the Indian press, notably the Economic Times and the Times of India, suggesting the deployment of an Indian satellite in Diego Garcia. The leader of the Chagos refugee group said he was unaware of the matter and added that some information reported by foreign media is sometimes exaggerated or inaccurate. Faisal Dil Hossain, former board member of the Islamic Cultural Center, has once again been questioned by the Financial Crimes Commission. Accompanied by his lawyer, Asad Pirou, he submitted new evidence regarding alleged irregularities in the organization of the 2025 Hajj, including cases of corruption and favoritism in the allocation of passports. He will be required to provide additional documents at a later date. As a reminder, the report of the Inquiry Committee on Hajj visa allocations published on October 3rd led to the suspension of 3 ICC employees. 5 years after the Wakasho shipwreck off the southeast coast of the island and the memory remains vivid, Mauritius continues to draw lessons from this painful episode. The Ministry of Environment now aims to turn that tragedy into a shared strength. In this spirit, the National Oil Spill Contingency Plan has just been revised, a response plan for oil spills now aligned with the new Environment Act 2025. We listen to this report by Shaili Nyeban, voiced over by Ashibachu.
At Pointe Desny, the sea has somewhat already regained its turquoise hues, but vigilance remains essential. This is why the Ministry of the Environment has revised its emergency plan to better guide the national response in the event of an oil spill and to prevent a disaster like the MV Wakasho in 2020 from happening again. The plan is now open for public consultation. This participatory exercise reflects a commitment to transparency and to adapting the system to local realities, according to the ministry. NGOs, fishermen and local residents can all submit their recommendations until October 31st, 2025. For more information, the ministry's website can be accessed.
And in other news, the Mauritius Society for Animal Welfare is reassuring pet owners that the National Dog Registration Campaign is continuing as planned. In a statement posted on its Facebook page, the organization responded to an article published in L'Express on October 22, which claimed there was a shortage of microchips for identifying dogs. The MSOR denied any interruption in the campaign, stating that it has a sufficient stock of microchips and that 2 new batches are expected in the coming days. The MSOR also specified that each owner receives a registration certificate. To reduce animal stress caused by long queues, a home microchipping service is also available. When attendance is low, the procedure is carried out on site. Otherwise, teams visit owners directly. The MSOR has assured that all necessary measures have been taken to ensure the smooth continuation of the campaign across the island. And it's 9:08. We're listening to RM1, where we move to international news. US President Donald Trump slapped sanctions on Russia's two largest oil companies on Wednesday, complaining that his talks with Vladimir Putin to end the Ukraine war didn't go anywhere. The EU also unveiled a fresh wave of sanctions to pressure Russia to end its relentless 3.5-year invasion of its pro-Western neighbor. Trump has held off pulling the trigger on sanctions against Russia for months, but his patience snapped after plans for a fresh summit with Putin in Budapest collapsed. Trump added that he hoped the tremendous sanctions against Russian oil giants Rosneft and Lukoil would be short-lived. We hope that the war will be settled, he said, alongside NATO Secretary General. Speaking to reporters after the meeting, the Secretary General, often dubbed the Trump Whisperer, said he was confident that with sustained pressure we would be able to get Putin to the table to agree with the ceasefire, and then other talks coming after that. And finally in sports, match day 3 of the Champions League wrapped up Wednesday with 9 games. English sides shone. Chelsea and Liverpool both won 5-1, while Tottenham were held to a draw in France. The night's highlights saw Real Madrid edge Juventus 1-0 thanks to Bellingham's strike after fine work from Vinicius. Elsewhere, Bayern Munich dominated Bruges 4-0 and Marseille, down to 10 men, lost 2-1 to Sporting Lisbon, while Monaco drew 0-0 with Tottenham. That's all for me this morning. Thanks so much for listening. Stay tuned now to the Intimate playlist until 10 a.m.